Hey guys, Shane here, Aus Flight Simmer. Welcome to another test drive video. Now, if you haven't seen one of these before, this is where we take an aircraft, a scenery or utility in different types of flight simulators, and I will take it for a spin around the block and give you my first impressions. Is it a value for money? So if you're interested in this sort of stuff, please hit that subscribe button and stay around for the rest of the video. In today's video, we are starting off at Big Bear with Carenado's latest business jet in P3D, which is the Falcon FA50. It's been a while since I've done a test drive on a Carenado product in Prepared, and I've been getting a few comments to test this one out. No, business jets are not really my forte, but we'll give this one for a spin. So within saying that, why don't we take a closer look and do a bit of a walk around of the exterior of the Falcon. As we take a look around the FA50 by Carenado, as we all should expect, their modelling and their textures are pretty good. The 3D modelling feels quite accurate. I've taken a walk around previously and looked at the finer details, and they all seem to be there. Obviously 4K texturing has been done with the HD quality textures of 496 by 496. Looks like Carenado has gone with a slightly worn sort of texture. You can see a few as we're walking around. You can see some around the window marks and underneath the undercarriage and the wings. There's a few marks there, which is nice to see. But in my opinion, I think the reflections are probably a little bit overdone. But within saying that, I have been spending a bit of time in X-Plane, and that could be a reason why I'm thinking this as well. The FA50 does come with the optionals to have the wingtips on or the wingtips off. I've decided to go the wingtips on because I'm not a big fan of wingtips when it comes to any aircraft using airliners or business jets. The aircraft comes with a bunch of liveries from all types and around the world, and also including the light ones. So if you've got a PC and you're struggling for performance, you should be able to find a livery that will work better for you. The aircraft comes with the usual suspects of animations such as wheels retracting, flaps, rudders, elevators, and also, this is a new one I don't think I've seen before, wing flex animation. So that's pretty cool. And also all the normal static options have been included, such as wheel chocks and all the pitot heat covers and engine covers, and also even a tug that we can see right here. Before we jump into the cockpit and get everything started up, the aircraft comes with the normal suspects of menus that all Carenado aircraft come with, as you can see here. We're going to do a cold and dark startup today, so we're going to select that, and then we're going to connect the ground power unit and close the doors and get everything ready to go. Welcome to the cockpit of the FA50. Now, normally I wouldn't go through a whole startup procedure, but in this particular video I'm going to, because I couldn't find much on the internet. So for people that want to not read the manuals and quickly learn how to do a startup, it's pretty straightforward. So we're just going to turn our lights on. We've already connected the ground power unit, which was interesting because it was already selected on, so it's a little bit odd. So we're going to turn the seatbelt signs on, and also the no smoking signs, which is interesting that that's still available in aircraft these days. Then we're going to switch and turn on the APU, so the master there. We'll switch it on and let's have a listen to how she sounds on the exterior. APU is all fired up. We're going to switch all the way over the back here to turn the APU on, X master on, and all those circuit breakers are just there for looks. They do not work. We're going to switch on the nav so we can navigate the flights. Jump back over to the overhead, and then we're going to get ready for our engine starts. I'm going to flick all these on, and then we're going to start with engine number 3. I'm just going to wait for the N2 to rise. I'm waiting for it to go up to 20, and then we'll flick it over. There we go. It roared to life. Pretty straightforward, really. And we'll do the same for the one. We'll skip over to the one engine, flip that on, we'll go back down, Wait for the N2 to rise, and then after this we'll have a listen to the engine starts on the outside of the aircraft. Have to flick it on. There we go. Now we'll start engine number 2. The sounds of the engines for the aircraft inside and out do sound pretty good on this one. I'm pretty happy with the engine sounds. Waiting for the N2 to come up on this one. And as you can see, I couldn't see that the fans were modelled in that engine, so I'm not sure if that's the same in real life, but looked a little bit weird. But within saying that, we're pretty much all ready to go, and we're going to turn the APU off and we'll begin our taxi very, very shortly. We are all ready for taxi. I've turned the taxi lights on, so we're just going to apply some throttle and we'll begin to move the aircraft. There was one thing I didn't show you during that startup, and that was the flight programming. And the reason why I didn't do that is because the airport where we're at, which is Big Bear L35, was not in the database, considering I had it all updated via Navigraph. So interesting and interesting. So what I had to do is pick the nearest airport as the departure, and then obviously we're doing and excuse those. I've got something wrong with the scenery there, yeah, then I just obviously did a direct flight to Monterey, where we're actually, or Monterey I believe it's called, where we're flying to. So I didn't include that in there, so that's a bit of an issue when some of the airports aren't in the database. So within saying that, as for taxiing the FA50 is pretty easy. Now the rudder pedals I'm using are the Virtual Fly Rudder Plus pedals, and they make everything nice and easy for taxi. We're going to make a right turn here. It's a bit of cloud sort of sweeping through the airport, which is a nice immersive feel. But no, everything's okay. Having that extra engine on there with my throttle set up, taking a little bit getting used to, but we're just going to skip down the taxiway here, and I'll quickly come back to you as we're just about to hold short. So coming to the end of our taxi, we're just going to make a wide turn here, and should be an interesting takeoff down Big Bear, being a short runway and also a high altitude runway, so should make things interesting. We'll make a right hand turn here and we'll pop on the anchors and we'll get ready. Okay, so let's put the landing lights on, and we'll turn the taxi lights off, and we're ready to go. So we're going to pull out on the runway, and once we pull out, we're going to, because it's a short runway, we're going to whack the anchors on, put the parking brake on, and then we're going to wind the engines up, and then once we get to about 70%, then we'll release the brakes. So just make our way out now. Sure we get a good lineup. Now this aircraft likes a lot of speed on takeoff, so you do got to get some mileage down the runway before she likes to go. The fuel, I'm running fuel just under 50% for this flight. It's only a short flight, about 240 nautical miles to Monterey. There we go. Line up, and we'll put the parking brakes on there, and then I'll slowly wind up the engine. So I'll be quiet now. I'll come back to you just after the wheels have gone up, and please enjoy the takeoff of the FA50.
no takeoff.
There we go. Apologies for the scenery there. Got some issues with the objects of the buildings popping above the runway. We didn't leave much runway left as we took off, but we finally got there. And I do believe when I got the no takeoff message, I didn't have my pitot heats on, so I think that was caused that issue. So we've been saying that we are climbing. We're going to climb up to 26,000 feet in total today. So we're going to switch on the autopilot in a quick second and turn on the yaw dampener, and we'll begin our way to Monterey. So yaw dampener is on, autopilot's on. I'm going to switch to nav mode, and we're going to switch to VS mode. So I'm going to leave you there. We'll have a bit of a montage as we're departing Big Bear, and we'll come back to you shortly. Welcome back to the cockpit. We're nearly at our cruise altitude. I've decided to go to 22,000 feet instead of the original 26, as you know we've only got less than 200 nautical miles to go. So we're going to hit the hold altitude button here. The autopilot functions quite easy on the aircraft. Obviously we're only doing a direct flight too, but it's holding the course quite well and the altitude quite well. There we go. We've been saying that we're going to quickly throw to another montage, and then we're going to come back and take a closer look at the cockpit and also the cabin. Welcome back to the flight deck of the FA50. Now, some of the features that have been added into the cockpit in the cabin of this aircraft are some new interior click spots and sounds on the buttons and switches. And normally I'm pretty harsh when it comes to the Carenado sounds, but it sounds like they've got some different sounds for the switches in the FA50. The team also claimed there's some new interior reflections and materials that have been included. And they've also stated that the aircraft is VR ready. Now, mind you, I haven't flown it in VR, but as I've got used to the aircraft, there's not too much to it, so I think it would be a nice business jet to fly in VR. For most of the interior of the cockpit, the textures are pretty good, but there is some spots there where they wouldn't think you'd be looking, where the textures don't seem to be up at 4K quality. So I'm not sure if this is used to say performance on the aircraft, but there's a couple of spots, so don't really look too hard. Just look at the main areas and you shouldn't really have a problem when it comes to their texturing. When it comes to systems on aircraft, it's just like any other Carenado aircraft. It's pretty basic, and you've pretty much seen them all as we went through the startup procedure early in the video. As we make our way back into the cabin, all the usual suspects are here. We can open and close the shades and when I do that, but there is no change into the reflection or shadows that are put into play. You've got your tables here that you can open and close. Like, they open and close like lightning. They're pretty quick, but now I can't actually get them closed. But all in all, the cabin interior is the usual quality from Carenado. 3D modelling is fine. It's just probably the texture work out the back here. It seems to be all, you know, baked on with the reflections and whatnot. But you're not going to spend that much time out the back here anyway. So, but with been saying that, we're going to make our way back up to the cockpit, and we're going to come back to you as we're coming to approach into Monterey for our landing. Welcome back to the cockpit. We have changed our mind when it comes to the arrival into Monterey. We're actually landing at a runway 28 now, so the wind had changed and we've got just a slight headwind to the right. It's pretty much more of a cross-to-wind landing. So we're on our approach to Monterey. You can't see it, but we're just about to make a slight right-hand turn to line up on the runway. As with most flights, the most exciting part is the approach and the landing, and I tell you what, the FA50 does make it exciting, particularly with its 3 engines. Well, it has for me anyway. Flying aircraft with 3 engines is different than flying with 2 engines, 1 engine, or even 4 engines. So mastering this and remembering you've got 3 engines on approach brings a new skill level when it comes to landing the FA50. So as you could hear before, we've dropped all the flaps all the way down and our gear is locked and loaded. Once you do that, this aircraft is like a flying brick, pretty much like flying the shuttle in X-Plane 11. It just wants to sink. So you do need to keep an eye on your throttles, and you do need to keep it above 140, between 140 and 148 I found in this configuration of flight. So we're just beginning our right hand turn. We'll probably hug the left side a little bit too much, and that was because I was being a little bit lazy on the lineup. Looks like we've got both red lights on the PAPI, so that's not going to be ideal. But within saying that, please enjoy the landing of the FA50. I'm going to be quiet now, so enjoy.
500, 500, 500. 400. 300. 100. 100. 50. 40. 30. 20. 10.
There we go. So we're going to pull back on the reverses now as I line up. We just landed to the right of the runway. We're going to throw to replay, so enjoy that, and I'll come back to you with my final thoughts. So my final thoughts on the Carenado FA50. Is it worth value for money? Now you can pick it up at the Carenado store for $44.95. They actually come to about $65 Australian. Our Australian dollar's not too good, but within saying that, that's pretty expensive for an aircraft. Does she look good? Yes, she does look pretty good on the exterior of the aircraft. That goes without saying, Carenado. But the same old thing is systems. For that price, I would expect to see more systems. So if you don't have a business jet, I would say definitely have a look at it. But if you already have some business jets in your fleet, you may want to stick to what you're flying or go and find something out. So if you enjoyed the video, please give it a thumbs up and spend some time dropping a comment of what you think about the FA50. And if you enjoyed the video, hit that subscribe button to see more weekly content. And thank you very much for watching. My name is Shane, Aus Flight Simmer. I'll see you on the next video. Looks like we should have held the brakes and throttled up the engines. I don't think we're going to have enough road. Nah, we're not going to get to 88 mile on this one. Not looking good. Those trees. We go pull back. Nah, we're not gonna get there. We're gonna hit the trees. Oh, the trees!